Welcome to the first basic skills video tutorial. Here's the data set we'll be using. You can download it from course material and you can read about it. I'm not going to go through the details, but it has information on all of the Tour de France winners since the Tour de France began in the early 1900s. And by coincidence, as of this recording, the 2018 Tour de France starts 3 days from today. I have the data in two different forms. I've got it in an Excel data table and just stuff in an Excel sheet. I've hidden several columns just to make this easier. That's not really affecting what we're doing. For descriptive statistics, which is our first basic skill, there is a built-in descriptive statistics tool that some of you may want to use. But I'm going to show you how to use Excel statistics functions to compute 7 different statistics. We want the mean, the standard deviation, the 5-number summary, which is the minimum, the first quartile, the median, which is also the second quartile, the third quartile, and the maximum, and the interquartile range. There are a couple of ways to get the functions to work. We're going to work with the winner's age rounded to the nearest year when they won the race. There's no mean function in Excel, but there is an average function. So you say average. You can put in the specific cells, or you can just say, I want everything in the column where the data is. I want column G. I'll show you in the next sheet, if you want to use the specific cells, how you can do that. It doesn't change things because Excel's functions for statistics will ignore blanks and will ignore words. There are 2 different standard deviation functions, STDEV population and sample. We're going to assume that this is sample data, although you can make an argument either way in this particular case. And it doesn't format them nicely for you. Format them yourself. Minimum is just the min. Max, not a big surprise, it's max. Median is median. Quartiles are a little messier. There are actually 3 quartile functions for Excel. I'm going to actually use all 3 of them so you can see what they do. This one's considered, you can see about a little thing, an obsolete version. There's quartile exclude, quartile include, and quartile. If you care, you can go read on the internet all the controversy about Excel's quartile functions, but for the purposes of this class, all 3 of them work. I'm going to start with what's considered the obsolete version, one that's there for compatibility purposes. And it has 2 inputs. Where is your data and which quartile do you want? And the interquartile range is just the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile. There's not actually a built-in function for that. Now just to show you, I'm going to do the other 2 quartile functions here. I'll do quartile exclude, same data, same quartile, and then quartile include, and same data, same quartile. Do it for the third quartile. Quartile exclude, third quartile, and quartile include. For this particular data set, it did not make any difference which one I used. Sometimes it will make a difference. Again, you can play with data and play around with them and read about the controversy if you want. But for this class, they're all fine. Well, those are the 7 statistics we need to be able to compute for basic descriptive statistics. And I said it does work regardless of the form of the data. I'm not going to do all of them here, but I'll just show you the differences. So again, with the mean, I have to use the average function, and it's still in column G. Now in this case, I mentioned you can also, and you could have done it in the other one, say where are the specific cells that the data's in. You could say, well, okay, it starts in G2, and you could scroll down, or and it's been down to G105. So you could say average G2 through G105. The larger your data set is, the more work that is. So the other way to do that, I'm going to delete start over. Is just let the cursor selected. Click on the first cell and scroll on down to the bottom. This version of the formula would be particularly useful if you wanted to put your average, for example, at the bottom or the top of a column. This one is what I normally use, just give me the average of the whole column, but sometimes you do want to be specific to where your data is. It shouldn't make any difference. I won't do all 7 functions because they all work the same way here. In fact, in this case, I could actually just copy them all over. And they're referring to the data on this sheet instead of the other one and giving you the same values. On this data set, it's going to come back for the next 2 basic skills, but it gives you a pretty good idea how this one works. So that's what you need for basic skill number 1.